Hey everyone, the topic that our group has chosen for the marketing plan document as well as the presentation is the mental health for post-secondary students. We'll be covering a lot in this presentation, starting from obviously some background and introduction about the subject, followed by the situation analysis and the target audiences, and then the behavior objective and the outcome goal, followed by the positioning statement. We'll also talk about the marketing mix and a brief plan for the monitoring, evaluation, and the implementation as well, followed by the conclusion at last. Now, a background. In Canada, the mental health issues among post-secondary students have received increased attention in recent years. Studies have shown that stress, anxiety, and depression are prevalent and growing problems among these students. Some data, according to a 2016 national poll, 13% of the post-secondary students had seriously considered suicide, and 44% of them said that they felt so miserable it was just hard to function for them. Furthermore, marginalized and underrepresented groups, including indigenous students, LGBTQ plus students, and racialized students, are more likely to suffer from mental health problems. But apart from all these stats that you can see on your screen, this is something that we all see and experience in our life, especially as a student's life. It doesn't matter if you are a 4.0 student or a 2.0 student. Mental health impacts every student in some kind of way. The causes of mental health problems among post-secondary students are complicated and multifaceted, with academic strain, financial stress, social isolation, discrimination, and a lack of access to mental health treatments and support. All of them playing a huge role. Poor sleep patterns, living expenses, academic load are among some of the most significant issues to mental health reported by post-secondary students. And a range of resources and support is available on campus, pretty much every campus around Canada and in the community to help students manage their mental health and well-being. But still, as per our extensive and internal research, stigma surrounding mental health prevents students from seeking help. Taking mental help has a very negative sound, a very negative stigma attached to it, which definitely needs to be changed. And addressing the stigma associated with mental illness and providing adequate care and support to those who need is extremely essential. Mental health issues among students have received increased attention in recent years, as I mentioned in the previous slide. The unique stressors and demands of post-secondary education have made this population particularly vulnerable to mental health challenges. Our literature review, our marketing plan, will examine the prevalence of mental health conditions, the cause of their emergence, and the barriers to accessing effective care among Canadian post-secondary students. We will also look at the efforts being made to address this issue, including on-campus mental health services, community-based treatments, and also some stigma reduction campaigns. The importance of diversity, equality, and inclusion (DEI) as a short form factors in treating mental health among marginalized and underrepresented groups will also be discussed. Will also be taken into consideration. Mental health is an important aspect of overall well-being, yet many post-secondary students may not prioritize their mental health or seek help when necessary. As I mentioned in the previous slide, the stigma associated with this is very negative, and that makes it harder for students to kind of go out and just ask for help. This campaign aims to address this issue and encourage students to take care of their mental health by accessing resources and support that are available to them. We also hope to contribute to a better understanding of the issues and opportunities associated with mental health among Canadian post-secondary students. Our goal is to raise awareness and motivate action towards establishing more supportive and more inclusive learning environments for all students. We believe that ongoing research, advocacy, and action are essential to promoting post-secondary students' mental health and well-being. And this campaign aims to encourage students to take these steps and reduce barriers to accessing mental health support.
In order to do the situation analysis, we performed a SWOT analysis. So, what are some strengths? Multicultural counseling, peer support groups, and mental health education initiatives are just a few inclusive, diverse methods many Canadian post-secondary institutions use to promote their students' mental health. I would also like to go into the fact and say corporations can make providing comprehensive mental health care for students easier. And finally, there are a lot of professionals in post-secondary schools which are trained for this, and we can use that resource to make a plan to tackle this problem. Now, let's talk about some weaknesses. So, for sure, there are some like lack of resources. Resources are very limited. There is a lack of knowledge as well. Even though there are a lot of efforts being made to educate students regarding this perspective, but again, there is a lack of knowledge, still lack of knowledge, which can be seen. And the last possible weakness is the lack of training among the staff. It is possible that many faculty members and staff lack the necessary instructions to recognize and handle concerns to relating students' mental health. There are proof of that. Now, let's talk about some opportunities. So we can see that one of the major opportunities is partnership. Like schools can partnership various non-profit organizations that specialize this in such kind of things. And a more comprehensive approach to student support can be facilitated by integrating mental health support services with other fields like academic help, financial counseling, and career counseling. So there should be some, like, for example, if I go to as a student, if I go for academic help, there should be an advisor there with me, with me to get my, for my mental health as well. Threats, there are a lot of threats. First is the financial sources. It is very limited, and it's and the major threat which we see is the stigma. There is still lot and lots of stigma around this topic among the population, which is a very major threat to overcome. After having a deeper look at the situation analysis, it's time for us to now see the target audience. We obviously know the target audience for this campaign is students, but what should be their age range? So we are targeting an age range of 18 to 25 years old, and there are many reasons behind it. So let's dig deep into that. First thing that we want to share about this is the severity of the problem. So researchers has revealed that the post-secondary students in Canada frequently have mental health problems. That's a common phenomenon. According to a national survey of colleges and universities, one-fifth of Canadian post-secondary students are depressed, anxious, or battling with other mental health issues, which is which is a very threatening number if you ask me. Additionally, according to Health Canada, most health problems manifest themselves throughout adolescence and young adulthood, and that's the main reason that we are choosing that age range. For this campaign, we have choose we have chosen the geographical area of Ontario, Quebec, BC, and Alberta, because because out of 2.71 million students that are studying in post secondaries right now, 75% of them live in these four provinces. Now, moving further, let's talk about their psychological values and lifestyle. So that will help us to give more information about demographics, or more information about the target audience. So the post-secondary students are diverse with wide range of values and lifestyles. And deciding the psychographics of this group can help us to develop a message that resonate with them. So, for example, student may be like concerned about the impact of mental health issues on their academic success, or relationships, or future career prospects. These are things that we have to see. Now, let's talk about some related behaviors that we want to see in these and this priority audience or target audience. We want to like their related behaviors, maybe like students may be engaged in practices like drug abuse, insufficient sleep, or unhealthy eating, and that can aggravate a mental health condition.
Okay, so the behavioral objective here and the outcome goal is to encourage post-secondary students in Canada to prioritize their mental health. And they need to self-reflect and practice self-awareness in order to recognize that their mental health is at an all-time low. That's step one to getting the help that is required, because poor mental health can have a significant impact on anyone's life. Specifically, a student who is working full time and in school full time. So they need to incorporate smart goals as to how they're able to manage that. poor mental health affects your academic performance, this affects your relationships, this even affects future career opportunities. So our objective is to make it safe for students to seek help and let them know that there is nothing wrong with recognizing that their mental health is at an all-time low.
We want university students to understand that their mental health should be prioritized in concurrence with their academic studies, as the specific resources that could be made available will not only enhance the effectiveness within the classroom, but will ultimately improve their overall happiness and quality of life. The first two aspects of the marketing mix are product and price. There are three aspects of product marketing mix that we identified. First is the core product. So the prioritization of mental health in the university-age population will result in improving these students' well-being and academic performance. Next is the actual product. These are various material resources, including individual and group counseling, therapy sessions, and mental health support groups. These shall all be made available and marketed to students in Canadian post-secondary institutions. Finally is the augmented product. These are workshops on wellness and stress reduction, mindfulness and meditation practices, peer support groups, and customized self-care schedules that can serve as effective resources. Next, we want to talk about the price. There are two aspects of price that we identified: the cost and the price-related factors pertaining to that cost. So accessing mental health resources takes time, effort, and unfortunately money as well. Low levels of disclosure and help seeking can be identified and influenced by perceived stigma. Negative economic conditions also affect the mental health of adolescents. Providing students with mental health treatments for free or at a reduced cost could effectively reduce mental health related issues within the university age population. An example of this could be implemented by adequately training teachers, professionals, educators on effectively assisting these students' mental health. So the final two aspects of the marketing mix are place and promotion. For place, the development of connections with nearby mental health professionals and organizations, ensuring that services are accessible both on and off campus, and encouraging the use of online resources and virtual support groups will be essential. Many students actually arrive on campus without the requisite skills to handle or even identify personal mental health issues. Every campus should have an accessible counseling program that provides a physical space for youth to address these issues. This physical space should reassure students that they do not have to handle problems alone, while continuing to highlight other off-campus resources. For promotion, it should be known that effective promotion should be implemented through the use of peer influencers and health advocates to raise awareness of the value of mental health and overall well-being. To eradicate the stigma surrounding accessing these resources, creative strategies such as social media challenges, events, and narrative initiatives about mental health can be utilized. Media channels such as advertising, social media sites, or even college newspapers can be effectively used.
All right, so the goal here is to assess the effectiveness of support measures, identify areas for improvement, and ultimately enhance their mental health outcomes. So this assessment will help universities and colleges to better understand the impact of their present mental health support methods while determining where resources should be invested to improve their well-being. So these evaluations are completed by students themselves, administrators, and mental health practitioners, and anyone who needs one. So the findings will be communicated through reports, presentations, and online channels where students and those suffering in mental health can have easy access. So there are several strategies used to determine the evaluation, such as surveys, focus groups, interviews, past analysis, and academic success measures. And the cost for this determines on the amount of resources that are used properly to present the results.
Now we talk about the fun stuff, which which is budgeting, and the plan of implementation. This social marketing campaign implementation strategy is divided into four columns that you can see on your screen: what, who, when, how much. And the total plan is divided into two phases, which is phase one, having research and development, phase two, implementation and evaluation. Now, uh, each phases, the total campaign budget is $300,000. We get to this number because we know, since it's a mental health issues, and we will get support from the government, from the institutions, from colleges, from not-for-profit organizations as well. So we came up with this number, and the other cost would be income. It would be dependent on the budget would be dependent on the support that we give. Now, according to this amount we have, conduct formative research, develop and test intervention, develop communication materials, will all cost at 50,000 each in phase one. In phase two, the campaign has a maximum amount of the money, which is $70,000. The monitoring evaluation would be $60,000, and finally, the reports of the results would be $20,000. This, if we total this, it would be the total would be $300,000 right there. And it's very important. The last section, the report on results, is very important, as we have to see if this campaign was a successful campaign or not, or because we have to implement in the rest of the provinces as well. Finally, we would like to say that mental health is a critical issue that affects post-secondary general well-being, and this rising prevalence of mental health issue in this population needs the development of an effective intervention to enhance the mental health and prevent the mental health illness in the target demographic. And the plan that we created would help them that to tackle this problem. Thank you. We would now open the stage to ask some questions.